my friend.
I mean, is that true?
You misunderstood me again. If I want to offer you the truth, teach me rather, how would I have offered you, shared with you, with love, this truth?
This is where we differ.
Because you disagree, right? So now why don't you tell me? Next time, I would really try to use this method and approach to connect with people. I am not that, arrogant. I can change. So now, why don't you kindly tell me the things that you saw missing in me, how would I have offered the truth of Islam to connect to people so that they are being recipient of it? So give me some pointers.
Okay. For me personally, and this is like bringing the Holy Spirit into the equation, okay, is to recognize that actually I'm not the teacher, right? All I have is a message. Whether you accept it, up to you. Whether you are able to receive that message, completely up to you. This is the purpose of the Holy Spirit for me.
I agree with you. This is what we're doing. I'm not forcing my belief on you.
No, but this is the disconnect for me, is that you are a very learned man. Okay, you're a very...
Know about this much.
But compared to me,
Nothing.
you are. Compared to her, you are. You're a learned man, and you're trying to teach me with learned thoughts. You're not trying to teach me with the Spirit.
How?
And it misses.
You're telling me what I haven't done. How should I have done? Give me an example. How should I have done? For example, now, imagine now you're the Muslim guy, the Muslim person. Now tell me, how would you approach me and offer me this truth of Islam?
Okay, if I would have done it,
yeah,
I would have probably said 10 words to your 100 words.
Okay,
I would have stood here and listened to
tell me.
And I would have learned who the person was. Okay, that's what I would have done. I wouldn't have tried to speak to you to tell you that I knew more than you did.
Have I ever made an arrogant claim, I know more than you?
Yeah.
How?
By firstly, I've told you multiple times, I don't believe in a God.
Neither do I.
God is ill.
Neither do I believe in your God. So we are on the same level.
I'm not saying my God. I said a God. I believe in a higher being.
And where did I take you from there? There has to be a creator of this universe. We actually went through all this with reasoning. I developed the reasoning between ourselves, our human reason, saying this universe demonstrates there has to be a creator. And I then explained to you why there has to be one creator rather than many. So this is something that was a shared learning for both of us. So we engaged in a journey in exploring our reality. I wasn't undermining you, neither you were undermining me. But we agreed to in this process.
I feel like with my culture anyway, how I said there were multiple gods. Those gods in our culture aren't classed as God's creators. They're classed as God's prophets of Il. So Il, then the God's prophets. They're not necessarily the leaders of the people. But again, that's where, I feel like you didn't intend on actually listening but also talking, and then it got to the point where it felt like you're trying to convert.
You see, can I just say one thing? Your description that you've given about these people or these deities or gods, I took them on the face value that you said, and I said they
but
cannot
that was
be
without any context as well.
No,
that
no.
was just taking it at face value.
These gods, they cannot be absolute. This is the point I was making. They all cannot be absolute. Because there cannot be more than one absolute.
But what's her conviction on it? Like, what's her
Can there be more than one absolute gods in your belief?
Again, that's your belief
Okay,
system.
in your belief...
And it feels like you're trying to convert me to your belief
I want to understand something.
Well, yeah, it was,
in
but
your
as you
belief...
said, if you follow...
Correct.
If you follow...
No, correct me. In your belief of multiple deities...
If you live your life of truth, depending on what sort
No,
of
that's
truth
because
is.
he wanted to give that approach, and I gave you that, and you still don't want to take it. No problem. I said, in your belief of multiple deities, multiple gods, do you believe they are absolute in their attributes, in their essence, in their nature?
Let me pull back.
Excuse me, this
100
lady.
words to about 10 words.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, same thing.
Good, got
Just
you.
the same argument what I was
So
just saying.
the same point I'm asking now. In your belief about multiple gods that you think I haven't engaged with, let me clarify then from my understanding. Do you believe there are more than one absolute gods in this many deities?
She doesn't even know if there's one God.
Sorry?
She doesn't even know for herself if there's one God.
You said you come from a cultural belief system in which there are many gods.
Yeah, but that doesn't say what she believes.
That's
She's
what-
saying what her culture
I
believes.
said what my culture believes. Again,
Right.
taking it back to
And then what did you say? You believe in a higher being.
a higher being.
Good. And what did I take from there? There can only be one higher being, one absolute higher being.
She doesn't even know that. Like she's.
Hang on, one second.
There's the conversation.
Can there be more than one higher being? Like, let's establish that.
Directive-
Can there be more than one higher being?
Like I said, I can't agree nor disagree, and that's exactly
That's
what you
Quran.
told
If you want
me.
to convert,
Can there be more than one higher being?
read. That's Quran.
Can there be?
Well,
We
like
send
I said,
devils.
I asked you.
Allah sends
Now, I want to learn from you.
Quran.
I know, but just let me speak.
Go ahead, go ahead.
If you want to learn, then please
Go ahead.
listen.
Go ahead.
You asked me, well, I asked you, or told you, I can't agree nor disagree with anything that you're saying because I myself don't believe in anything entirely. So I'm not a Muslim, not a Christian, not a Catholic. You know, I know what my culture believes in, but I don't practice it myself.
Okay.
So
we're not dealing with your culture. We're dealing with what you believe in.
But my culture is exactly, and that's exactly my point. Is
Can we not talk about what you believe in?
That's exactly my point.
You believe in a higher being.
We're asking her to talk with certainty, though. She doesn't
Do you
have
do you do you
certainty
believe
to
in a
talk
higher
about.
being, or do you just think there's a higher being?
No, I believe for myself that there's a higher.
For yourself. So she is certain for herself. So sometimes you need to speak for your own self and not speak on her behalf.
No, but
I'm talking
But-
about the discussion.
No, I am saying sometimes we need to let other people to hold their own belief rather than speaking on their behalf. This is a clear demonstration.
Listen, you're forcing
but
an answer out of her.
you're trying to get me to agree or disagree
No, no.
with something that I don't.
From what
think.
you believe. Look, I'm not going to tell you what to believe. I'm asking what you
I'm
believe.
I'm not saying you're telling me what to believe. I'm saying you're asking me to agree or disagree.
No.
You
Can
are.
I will explain again.
Can I ask a question first?
Whatever you believe, in your personal belief, do you believe in the existence of a higher being?
Can I ask this question first? And I just want to state it to help her with this question.
Yeah.
If I said to you, I don't know, I truly don't know, would that answer suffice?
Yeah. Do you believe personally in the existence of a higher being?
I believe in a higher being.
Good. So this is irrelevant. So she does believe in a higher being. Can I ask you a further question?
I'm not calling that higher being God.
No, I'm not saying that you are.
But I'm not saying that higher being is my creator. I'm not saying that higher being is who I should follow.
Can I ask you then?
That there's
My
a
further
more
follow-up.
powerful being than myself.
Okay. Can I ask you a further following question from that? This
Whether that being is an
this
energy or
this
whether it's a human
this
or
okay.
I'm not identifying it by a physical nor energetic presence.
Okay.
I just know that there
This
is
higher
something
being,
higher that-
do you believe this higher being is the cause of our universe's existence? Okay. So what's the relationship with the universe and this higher being?
I don't know.
Good. No problem. Who created this universe?
Again, I do not know.
Okay. Is it possible the universe could have been simply there or created by nothingness?
Well, it depends on what point of view you come from, really.
Depends
Some
on?
people.
No,
believe
you. From your understanding, the knowledge, the experience that you have, this universe, could it just come by itself from nothingness? Or was it always there? Or did someone create it?
that- Well, I can't say that someone created it. Like I said, I believe that there is a higher being that exists.
Now, you don't know about the relationship between this universe and that higher being. So let's not leave that higher being aside. This universe now we're talking about, which is real, is external to us, we can observe it. This universe either came from absolute nothing, or it was always, they didn't come from anywhere, or it was brought into existence by something or someone or someones in multiples. These are possible alternatives. Which one would you say is worthy of consideration?
Both of them.
Good. Let's take the position of this universe came from absolute nothingness. So there was absolute nothingness at one point. There was nothing. No energy, no higher beings, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Can anything come out of this nothing?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
If there was a point when there was absolute nothingness, nothing, no energy, no power, no matter, no gods, no higher beings, no humans, simply nothing, no laws, no potentiality. It's simply absence of everything. From that state, can you get something out of it? Can something arise from it? Can a universe come out of it? How? There was nothing. Nothing. You get nothing from nothing. How can you get something from nothing?
I don't know. I'm not a scientist.
You don't have to be a scientist. You don't have to be a historian. This is common sense. This is one thing that you have.
It is
How
not
do
common
you
sense.
know that nothing
you-
can come of nothing?
Okay,
how,
I'll
how
take-
are you so sure of it?
Sure. Nothing is the absence of anything. So it cannot do anything.
But
If
how do you know?
Because from our everyday experience, when we understand our reality, this is what we see. Nothingness cannot do anything. If I wrote the word nothing on my hand and I said, this word nothing made that building over there, you'd be laughing at me. You'd say, how can this word nothing make this building? It cannot do anything.
Actually,
Nothing
I
was
wouldn't be
before your
laughing.
hand.
But you would not believe.
Because
You would not believe in it.
Again, it depends on what angle.
So you'd believe this word nothing made this
Well,
building?
It depends on what angle you're taking that from.
No, I'm
Because
saying
if
that
somebody-
building was made by this word. This word was the manufacturer, the builder.
Can I stop you there? I just want to ask.
could.
No,
It
listen.
could. Depends on what angle you're looking at.
I just want to ask what you're trying to achieve.
Is this how? One second, brother. One
I just
second.
wanna ask what you're trying to achieve.
One second. One
No,
second.
no, no.
I will tell you. I will tell you. Be patient.
Well,
I will tell you.
Get there now.
Why are you being so aggressive now?
Because
Can we finish this discussion? Is that okay?
You're kind of bullying her.
Can we finish this discussion?
I don't actually know what you're trying to achieve.
If you don't want to continue the discussion, we leave it. Because now I find that your friend is being offended
my
because
partner.
No, it's
It's my partner.
I apologize if your partner, you felt, if you felt,
I don't know what you're trying to achieve.
I'm trying to reason
Mate, look, your
with
camera's
her.
pointing at her as a thing. that
Did
you're
we not
trying to
say
achieve.
not to record her?
Brian. He mentioned
Not to record her?
Fine. But I'm just saying, is the purpose to make her look stupid?
No. The purpose is to reason
Then get to the
and
point of
being
what you're trying to
reason.
get
Okay,
to.
the point is this.
Because you're doing exactly what I said.
I'll
at
tell
the
you what, and
beginning.
I'll end this discussion. Because
fine,
if you
right.
find this discussion is really, I'm getting on your partner, and
No,
first
no,
of all,
that's fine,
look,
that's fine, that's fine.
number one, I
I am-
apologize.
I am completely
Number two,
fine.
it was not intentional. And number three, we should end this discussion. Why? Because it's getting emotional now. It's
no,
no
it's-
longer in the realms of reason.
I'm actually.
Intellectual discussion is where we try to stimulate our brains.
Buddy.
Buddy.
Reason doesn't occur when one person has to yell louder than the other to get a point across.
Brother, I'm
Okay?
not yelling.
No, but you are far more
This is my
more
voice.
convicting than what she is right now. She has like 2 seconds to speak to every 10 that you have. Okay, like
So you're finding it. If I were to explain, look, the one who explains, they explain.
ask a question, back off, let her answer. Ask a question, let her back off.
Okay.
Answer. Like all
Okay.
you're doing is prophesying. All you do is proclaiming your message. You're not actually trying to learn from her.
Look.
Once again,
If
you
this
said,
is
what am I doing
is this
wrong?
how you feel? Okay.
That's what you're doing wrong.
Do you agree with
You're
the
not even
partner that we can get something from nothing?
listening. No.
Do you want to ask him why you can't get something from nothing?
Well, because I believe in a God. I believe this was all.
I'm not talking about
created.
God. There was no question of gods in here. It's about something and nothing.
But that's where this whole conversation started.
No, I'm talking to you about why nothingness cannot originate this universe, which is something. You said it's possible. So I would like to know, because your partner agrees with me here, so perhaps you can ask your partner to
I
explain
never
to you.
said it's possible. I
Well,
said
can
it could.
Can I bring
How?
some context into it?
Yeah?
Like, first of all, I'm only heated because you're not giving her a chance, okay? So if you step up on her, I step
Okay.
up on you.
I explain.
That's
Okay.
how that works.
Explain how you can get
Completely-
something from nothing.
I'm completely.
Good, I got your
I know
point
what
there.
you're saying, but-
More time to explain. Go ahead.
Second point of the conversation that I'm trying to point out here is you've got two conflicting things here. You've got this religious context, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then this modern conversation that we're having is of colonization, how religion has become a colonization tool, okay? She comes from an indigenous culture, just so happens that they acknowledge multiple gods, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Does she believe in those multiple gods? Probably not.
Okay.
Okay, but do they have a real use case in their culture? Yes, they do. You know, one is to do with planting, one is to do with the ocean, one is to do with the weather, one is to do with the stars. Pretty much, right? It has a real life working case scenario. Okay, now you got to ask the conflicting question: is like, okay, does this one monolithic God contradict your indigenous belief of having multiple gods?
I was questioning the very concept of multiple gods.
Yeah, but for her,
Is that not questionable?
no,
Is that what you're saying?
It is questionable.
Good. So that's why I was trying to engage with you. How do you see the concepts of multiple gods? Is it reasonable? Is it believable? And I gave you, for you to reason with me, some pointers in which why the existence of multiple gods is not reasonable and it's not believable. You could come back and say, no, I disagree with you based on X, Y, and Z. Yes, there can be multiple gods and they can be reasonable, they can be believable. It's not something that I'm not asking you not to come back. But you seem to have agreed with me that yes, there is conflict of will. That's why there can only be one absolute God, one absolute being, a higher being. And then you are backtracking a little bit who the higher being is. You're saying you don't even know the relation between the higher being and the universe. So we come back to this universe, which we both agree on.
Well, that's not backtracking. That's still, you're still able to acknowledge something without actually knowing the existence of that being.
Fine, but that
No,
being,
it's
there has
just
to be a
like
relationship.
It's like a relationship where a mother and father. Father leaves. You know you've got a father.
Yeah.
Don't know where he comes from. Don't know.
Understood.
Don't know who he is. It's the same context. I know that there's a higher being. Don't know where he comes from. Don't know who created him. What he stood for. What came after him. Other than me.
Okay, so what's the relationship between this higher being and this creation? Because we want to know who created this creation. Is it this higher being? If you don't know, then let's talk about the creation and see who can actually create such a creation. Can this creation come from absolute nothingness? And the answer is actually no. Nothingness cannot create anything. Nothingness itself doesn't have the power to do anything because it doesn't exist. Nothingness is the absence of everything. So this universe could not have come from nothingness. Does that make sense?
It would if I followed a religion.
I'm not talking about religion at all. I'm just using human reason. You are human, I'm human. You have brains, I have a brain, and we are trying to engage with each other with these reasons and see whether... You see, when you go to work and study, you use reason. The job that you're going to go for next job, if you're ever going to go for one, you'd be using your reason. Does it say good salary? Is it a good company? Good reputation? Is it some... You'll be looking at all of these positives and you will try to avoid the negatives. You'll be using reason. You would reason in everyday life. So there's no fault in using reason because you do that anyway in your everyday life. The coats that you wear, the food that you're going to eat, the places that you're going to live in, you always use reason. You want to use the reason to get the best out of it. Use the reason and say, this universe, could it come from nothingness? And I just gave you what this nothingness is. So can it come from nothingness? No religion attached here. Nothing to do with religion. It's the understanding about something as opposed to nothing. And something emerging from nothingness.
Well, I'll add Bodhidharma, okay? There is a creation story that is completely different to any religious context or religious story that was told. There's a creation story. What is that?
So,
Go on.
in Māoridom, we do come from nothingness. In Māoridom, we do come from nothingness. So there's darkness, and then one of the gods, you know, all his siblings, his parents, they're together. And then out of the nothingness, he puts his legs up between his mother and father, separate them, and in comes light.
So there was something already. So there was already something, rather than nothing.
She said one of the gods.
Yeah.
So did that one of the gods exist before this nothingness?
Well, that's what I mean. They called
So-
it nothingness. And that's why I said to you, it depends on how you view.
But it
the
wasn't
idea of
nothingness that brought it. But it wasn't nothingness that brought this universe. It was this gods.
But like I said, it depends on the person's view that you're asking what the idea of nothingness is. Because to Māori, darkness is nothingness.
Yeah. But I explained what nothingness is.
Yeah, but
You
that's
can-
your idea of nothingness.
Okay. When somebody says, oh, this is a banana, someone can say that it's a banana. But in real life, this is not a banana. So we are trying to be real in our understanding of reality. So if somebody says nothingness, we can't just say, oh, nothingness means 20 kilogram weight of a weight. That's not nothingness. They can define it like that, but that definitely is not nothingness. So we have to have a common ground in which we understand the reality as reality is, rather than someone's faulty description of reality. So if in your belief system someone described this umbrella is nothingness, I would say it's a faulty description.
Well, who's to say that? And I'm not saying that, you know, I believe this or I don't believe it.
Our ancestors can be wrong.
Who's to say that back in the time of the creations, that nothing, the word nothing, or the idea of nothing didn't have a different meaning?
Then it wasn't nothing, then it was something else.
Yeah,
We are
but
using the word
that's-
nothing as understood by
but
nothing.
That's the idea of nothing today. Who's to say that nothing didn't mean something else?
Yeah, so it was something else then. So we have to be really clear in the words we use. If they meant nothing as something, then we would call, they didn't say that was nothingness, it was something. So that means whatever concepts they have, we have to take it as it was. So if they believe nothingness was something, then it wasn't nothing.
Well, it wasn't nothing according to today's language.
No, it wasn't nothing in terms of reality. That's what I'm saying. Reality. Look, language must be in conformity with reality. Otherwise, you can believe that you are actually now floating in space. You can believe in whatever you like, but that's not the reality.
You're asking the question of nothing to a girl who was raised on the idea of nothing being the idea of nothing meaning lack of life.
But I explain what I mean by nothingness. I'm not referring to your cultural understanding, your religious understanding of nothingness.
But you're also asking me to agree or explain something based on your idea of
No,
nothingness.
based on the understanding that you and I can both have now, based on the reality.
Well, not really, because we're not understanding.
Do you not live in the real world today? Do you not live in the real world? In this real world, nothing, as I described, is absence of everything. Can you not work on that definition? Or do you say, oh, this is nothing? Oh, this is nothing. Oh, this is nothing. You get confused.
It's just like saying.
Then words have no meaning then.
It's just like saying.
Imagine, spirit means cabbage.
It's just like
When it
saying
says love means potato.
It's just like saying if somebody.
The words have no meaning then.
It's just like saying if somebody says something mean to you and you don't let it affect you, you're like, oh, it's nothing.
No. Your partner earlier on says we need to speak with love and spirit and so on. Imagine somebody, love to them means potato. Spirits means cabbage. Then you will say like, what are you talking about? I have no understanding what it means. The words that we use in any interaction, any discussion, we must know what they mean. I'm speaking to you in English, but I cannot use a word. Imagine a same word is existing in my language. I'm trying to mean that word, and you think, oh, when I say me, you think it means me, mean I. But actually I mean something else. Then we can't have a communication. The communication will be failure. So we are using a model of communication called verbal language and non-verbal language, as you can see my hands are moving and so on, so that we understand each other, understand the reality as it is. So I am saying, you know what reality is. The reality, there is something, and opposed to that, there is nothing. This definition is not hard to grasp. It's hard to believe, where nothingness means a concept in which there was absolutely nothing. From that, your partner agrees with me, and you perhaps, when you think about it a bit more, you will agree that from that kind of nothingness, nothing will come. Something will not come from it. Because it doesn't have any energy. It doesn't have any own existence. So it cannot bring anything out of it. So this universe cannot come from such a nothingness. If I describe what that nothingness is.